Have you ever watched a prince transform into a national debtor in real time? That's exactly where Prince Harry now finds himself. No palace gates to shield him, no velvet curtain to soften the glare, no royal press team rushing in with carefully scripted lines. Just Harry stripped of status and ceremony, standing alone in the harsh beam of Parliament's spotlight. What makes this moment different isn't the tabloid noise or social media chatter. It's the fact that the UK Parliament has put his name in ink on an actual bill, a piece of legislation that could rip away the Duke of Sussex title for good. And that title isn't just ceremonial. It's his currency, the one golden card he has left to slide across the Hollywood table. It's the title that makes Netflix executives take meetings, that makes publishers slap his face on book covers with seven-figure advances, that convinces donors he still carries royal weight. Take it away, and what remains is simply Harry, another man in California trying to cash in on celebrity without the royal sprinkle. Parliament made sure the message landed with precision. In debate, his name wasn't hidden behind vague phrases like a member of the royal family or certain individuals. No one MP stood pointed directly at him and declared the obvious: if you abandon duty, insult the monarchy, and still parade your title across Los Angeles like it's a VIP pass, then there must be consequences. And those consequences are now marching toward him, with the inevitability of a guillotine. For a man who once waved from palace balconies in polished uniforms, who carried the heroic aura of a war zone pilot, who married under the gaze of a global audience, this fall feels less like a stumble and more like a public unmasking. Because when the House of Commons starts saying your name out loud, it means you're no longer a royal figure, you're a headline. A single deadline now hangs over his head, and it's far more brutal than any parliamentary debate. While MPs sharpen their knives over his title, HM Revenue and Customs quietly drop their own bomb, an overdue tax bill of nearly $800,000, with a payment window not of months or even weeks, but 3 days. 3 days to produce a fortune or face the humiliation of seizures, legal action, and the kind of public shaming that once would have been unthinkable for a man of his stature. It isn't a request. It's a financial guillotine, its blade already glinting above his neck. The irony bites hard. This is the same man who once commanded helicopters in war zones, who embodied duty in uniform on palace balconies, who symbolized tradition, even as he claimed to break from it. And now reduced to the image of a debtor, racing a tax deadline, frantically scrambling for liquidity as if the crown had been swapped for a calculator. From Prince Charming to Prince chasing deadlines, the transformation couldn't be sharper. Meanwhile, the court of public opinion is piling on with glee. Memes of eviction notices slapped across Buckingham Palace. Mock donation jars labeled "Help Harry Pay His Taxes." Hashtags like "Not a Duke" and "Sussex Scam" climbing the trends not as jokes whispered in corners, but as digital billboards seen by millions. These aren't just internet pranks. They're evidence of a shift in perception, proof that the public no longer sees Harry as a rebel prince, but as a runaway royal who cashed in and then choked when the bill came due. And what makes this sting even more is the speed. In the past, he had buffers, palace courtiers, royal lawyers, an institution that absorbed and softened blows. But this time, the countdown is personal, immediate, and merciless. The timer is ticking loudly, and for once, Harry can't hide behind velvet curtains or carefully worded statements. The blade will fall unless he finds a way to stop it. But wait, silence can sometimes scream louder than words. As Harry's deadline ticks down like a drumbeat, the world turns its gaze to Meghan Markle and finds nothing. No supportive Instagram post, no carefully crafted statement, not even a recycled photo of them smiling in Montecito. For someone who built an entire brand on public vulnerability, curated confessionals, and podcasts dripping with personal narrative, Meghan's sudden quiet feels less like absence and more like strategy. Insiders whisper that this isn't an oversight, it's a calculated retreat. With archetypes shelved, Spotify gone cold, and Netflix deals wobbling on thin legs, Meghan's brand already feels shaky. To publicly tether herself to Harry's spiraling mess now would be like tying a parachute to a sinking ship. And in Hollywood, survival is optics appear stable, polished, untouchable. Stand too close to instability, and you risk becoming radioactive by association. It's a cruel irony. When they first broke away from the palace, Meghan was the louder of the two, driving the narrative with bombshell interviews and curated revelations. She was the voice, he was the supporting act. Now, in the hour when her voice could be the most powerful, it is gone. And the silence doesn't feel protective, it feels distancing, like a deliberate pause to see whether Harry's storm clears or consumes him entirely. Meanwhile, the gap between them widens in the public eye. What was once billed as a united front against an outdated monarchy now risks looking like a brand partnership quietly dissolving under pressure. Meghan isn't standing in front of the storm, she isn't standing beside it. She's stepping back into the shadows, leaving Harry exposed to face the thunder alone. And nothing chills more than the realization that sometimes silence isn't solidarity, it's survival. And this is where the crowd turned. In the early days, Harry and Meghan were cast as rebels, modern disruptors tearing down the dusty curtains of monarchy symbols of freedom, breaking away from an archaic system. The world clapped documentaries, streamed, and magazine covers hailed them as a bold new chapter. But fast forward to today, and the applause has soured into boos. The narrative has flipped. They're no longer the fearless outsiders. They're the couple who cashed in on royal privilege only to flinch when the invoice landed on their doorstep. Lawmakers have dropped the politeness too. One senior MP didn't mince words. Harry's monetization of his title while living abroad was a mockery of public service. Another cut even deeper, insisting that if he wants to live as a private citizen, then he should be treated as one no privileges, no protection, no crown-shaped get-out-of-jail card. It's not just shade. It's a declaration that Harry, for all his claims of independence, must now taste the accountability that comes with it. Meanwhile, the financial strain is showing in bright, unforgiving daylight. The Montecito mansion may look serene in drone shots, but behind its manicured hedges, the costs are suffocating. Security staff lifestyle upkeep each month bleeds money. Archwell, their foundation once hyped as a powerhouse of influence, is reportedly not generating enough to cover the weight of their image. Deals are thinning. Whispers of financial desperation are getting louder, and the question is no longer whether Harry and Meghan can thrive, but whether they can even stay afloat. And here lies the bitter punchline: Harry wanted freedom, and now he has it. Freedom from the palace, freedom from titles, freedom from immunity. He got exactly what he asked for and discovered that freedom in its purest form means being left completely exposed. The irony is cutting. He escaped the institution to avoid being the spare, only to become the man paying every bill on his own with no shield to hide behind. This is the moment the curtain truly falls. Parliament's threats and the taxman's deadline were only the opening act. Now comes the deeper cut, the kind of scrutiny that doesn't just sting in headlines, but bleeds into court filings. HMRC isn't stopping at the $800,000. They're combing through every income stream Harry has touched, with British ties, paid speeches, brand deals, charitable write-offs, even Archwell's reported expenses. Every receipt, every invoice, every suspiciously vague outreach cost is suddenly under the magnifying glass. And if the math doesn't add up, that tax bill could swell into a full-blown scandal, complete with receipts splashed across tabloids and parliamentary reports. For Hollywood, this is a nightmare scenario. Studio executives don't gamble on volatility. They want control, predictability, polish. Harry now represents the opposite: a shaky brand, a volatile reputation, and headlines that scream instability louder than any PR pitch can soften. Already, industry whispers point to projects paused, deals quietly shelved, executives muttering about the Sussex name being radioactive. In an industry built on perception, that's not just bad, it's fatal. Behind the curtain, even allies are fading. Friends once quick to praise his bravery are slipping into silence. Sympathetic journalists have turned cautious. Donors, once eager to align themselves with the Sussex halo, now see it as a liability. The mask of royalty, once enough to command deference, carries no weight in a tax office, in a courtroom, or in a boardroom, where bottom lines matter more than fairy tales. Without the title, without the shield, Harry is revealed for what he is: another celebrity scrambling without a safety net. And here's the brutal irony that twists the knife: Harry spent years fighting to escape the crown, to shed the shadow of being the spare, to prove he was more than a title. Yet in leaving, he clung to that very title, monetized it, milked it, until it became the one thread holding his new life together. Now that thread is fraying, and with it the entire tapestry unravels. The crown he tried to reject has been replaced not with freedom, but with a circus spotlight. No longer the prince, not even the rebel. Just a man cornered, trading royalty for a clown show played out on the world stage.